Have you ever encountered parents who didn't want treatment for their teen or
Yes, I
child?
have. Yes, I have. And it's a very sad situation when you can definitely see the child struggling, when you can see the conflicts in the family or the family dynamics having an impact on the child. The child is really bright, but the things that's going on within the family, between the parents, or some major stresses that are coming up in their family, could add a lot of emotional, psychological stress to the child. And to tell you frankly, that when I use the term child, I'm not just using the term for little kids, kindergartners or elementary school, right? Legally, a child is a person who is younger than 18 years. So that's who I'm, considering. So I'm talking about teens, young teens, pre-adolescents, everyone here. We know that it is a very challenging life phase of life where a child physically goes through a lot of change, hormonally goes through a lot of change. In terms of your brain development, we realize that, the prefrontal lobe, which is supposed to be our, thinking zone, right, and understanding zone, is still under development, right? The process is not complete till they say 21 years, but I believe sometimes it never gets completed. But that's my personal opinion. But yes, it is a phase where you are neither a child, a teen wants to establish their own identity, understand the world from their perspective, but also has to navigate through the rules, regulations of the family structure, expectations of the other, expectations of the society that they are going in. And the school is a huge society. Specifically nowadays, it's a multicultural, multi-demanded society, right? And every day the demand is very different. So I would say that a lot of parents who has themselves been through a teen age in their life, but they have lived in a very different world, and it's very difficult sometimes for parents to really relate to the conflicts that the child is going through. Now there can be certain social cultural beliefs or even the family belief system that can influence this parental attitude. But yes, it is really a tough position when a parent does not want to, or does not agree to, or does not even acknowledge that the child is going through some internal struggles, but the child is quite aware of it and the child wants it. So it's a very tough position to be in.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask, I was just wondering, have you ever encountered just a teen approaching you, or someone other than a parent approaching you with the teen? Because maybe the teen, it doesn't feel like it's they don't feel safe telling their parents. Has that ever happened?
It has happened. And it has, in my clinical work, sadly, a teen cannot come to me directly in my private practice until and unless it is with the parent. So in my clinical practice, it's more like parents come in and the teen comes along with them. And in that situation, either both parent and the teen are at the same page, or the teen does not want the therapy, but the parent is forcing the teen to come in, or the parent are coming in the therapy, consultation, more so because the teen has forced it, and the parent still does not understand the depths and the intensity of the concern that's going on. And a number of times in my experience, it has been that a teen does talk about few things to the parents, enough to bring them into the clinical situation and therapeutic consultation room, but a lot of parents still don't know the intensity and the level of pain that the child is going through. And then most of the times the teens hide away their self-harm behaviors. They don't want to share that with their parents, or their suicidal ideations, or even their attempts, if they were at a minor level and the parents never could pick up on what happened in between. uh, but yes, if it is anything significant which is really out there, parents are aware of it, and they can figure out and get the help that is immediately required. Sometimes in case of body image issues, or sometimes in case of challenges where uh, a child is struggling with eating concerns, right? A lot of parents may not even know what's going on in the child's mind and child's heart, which again is, well, I can understand the teen's perspective, that they don't want to add more stress onto the parent, and they don't feel comfortable sharing that at that level with their parents, and feel that the parents are not there to listen to them. It could be multiple reasons why a teen goes through that, right? But I would highly encourage that if things are becoming quite significant and it is more very painful, then each and every teen needs to know that they are not alone. If they can't speak directly to their parents, they have someone or the other. If they look around, they have their friends. If they look around, they have the school counselor. They have somebody, or one or the other person in their life, who they can reach out to. And if not, then there are a lot of helplines that are available. If you feel that there's nobody around, then there are multiple crisis helplines that are available that a teen could reach out to. But yes, coming back, a very long answer to your question, there are situations where parents don't know the intensity of the problem. And there are situations when teens don't want to accept that they need the help, which the parents can see. They generally, in those second scenarios, what happens is a teen, as you said, wants to have a perfect image, wants to believe that they are old enough to take care of themselves. They don't need help, right? It's like they are trying to prove something to themselves and to the world, and they do not want to acknowledge or understand that no, asking help is also a very mature decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that if you are going to be supported, it's not that you are any less than, or you are not mature to deal with your life at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very, it's a crucial developmental understanding when to know how to ask help and where to ask help, or what type of resources and support system do you need, is a very mature understanding. So
you mainly work with like teens, adolescents, and as well as adults. But when you're working with teens, I bet you still have to deal with parents. So what would you tell a parent if they want their teen to receive help for their mental illness, or if they didn't believe their teen was actually mentally ill?
So there are two questions, right? One, talking to parents who believe that the teen needs mental health consultation or support and therapy. And what do I say to them, versus what do I say to those parents who are not ready to look into that area at all, right? I would say listen to your child. Right? Listen to your teen. Because irrespective of how much as a parent you want the best for your teen, if you want to force you can force the teen to come to consultation, right? But you cannot do the therapy for the teen.
Right.
Right? So if the teen wants to say that now this is something that I don't want it, I don't need it, It depending upon the severity and the intensity. Remember, this statement cannot be a blanket statement. It has to be taken from the perspective of severity and the intensity. Well, if a teen is suicidal and the teen does not want therapy, sorry, there is no, there is no argument there,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the teen is dealing with anxiety or depression or some, interpersonal challenges, some self-confidence issues, right? Self-doubt issues, then you want to respect your teen's choice and give your teen some space to grow.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just letting the teen know that I am there when you need me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, have a very open, very upfront, very clear discussion. Remove all the emotional, flux around it. It's very logical. It's very practical. Talk from that perspective, but give them that space to decide if you think that it is within the zone of safe. The last point that I wanted to say about parents who want to support their children and their teens in getting the therapy, I really appreciate their thinking. I really appreciate their efforts, and the only thing is they just need to know when to talk to their teens about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to the second group of parents who don't believe that their teen needs therapy, I will again start off by saying that please listen to your teen. Their world is very different from the world that you live in and you're growing old in, should I say, and the ones that you grew up in, right? It's definitely different. It's definitely a world with different challenges. And if your teen is telling you that I need help, then there is definitely something that you want to pay attention to, right? And if you are not, then you want to at least reflect on what are my own, as a parent, what are my own beliefs, myths, misconceptions around mental health. And how can I address that? How can I change that so that I become the best supporter for my team? Mm-hmm. So there could be multiple reasons why a parent does not want to uh, does not want or does not believe in mental health or providing therapy or supporting the child through therapy. But then, irrespective of what the reason is, then you, as a parent, it's your responsibility to look into that issue yourself in a different setting, but listen to what the teen is trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the best thing here would be is when there is a disagreement or a conflict, best thing is to actually reach out and talk to different people, not just people whom you think will agree to you and your thinking and your belief system, but reach out and talk to people. Figure out, there is so much of information given out on in media, social media, by very well-known psychologists, right? There are so many helplines, there are so many material available. So at least, even if you don't believe in it, go and read about it. Get yourself more aware of what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they will change their opinion and idea. But meanwhile, while the parents are not really agreeing to it, the teen is still not helpless.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
The teen can provide support to themselves, irrespective of their conflict with parents. So I would also suggest that a teen who is getting into this conflict and not getting the support that they think they need and are getting from parents, then they need to just take a step back and look at what are my other resources, where can I reach out, and how can I avail the support that I need. And first of all, just for those teens who are aware acknowledges and are trying to or wanting to do something about their own struggles, hats off to them. Because it's very mature. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of strength for any one of us to take a look into our own self and realize that there is something that's painful, or there's something that I'm struggling with. And it's all the more mature and very courageous for you to take a step and stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. So I would say I am in all respects for those teens who at this age are ready to do that for themselves.